Welcome to your Max podcast right now. Well, it was a slow week for Apple. Hopefully we'll have more to talk about next time. Earlier this week, RIM's nightmare began when its data center in Slough, England, I think that's how you pronounce it, suffered a glitch which affected online services for customers all over Europe, the Middle East, and Africa. BlackBerry users were unable to browse the web, send or receive instant messages, or access other internet services such as email. However, business users who were served by a corporate server appeared at the time to be unaffected. Many BlackBerry users were particularly annoyed at being cut off from BBM, RIM's free instant messaging service. A major selling point for its smartphones, it's particularly popular amongst teenagers who are able to save a lot of money on text messaging costs. Quote, "So I have no mail, Twitter, or BBM on my BlackBerry," tweeted one user. "I may as well cut one of my arms off too." Yeah, there's a bit of an overreaction. The outage was yet another black eye that RIM doesn't really need at this point. Currently, they're under increasing pressure from more recent entrants to the smartphone market, namely Apple and Google. Compounding their woes, second quarter results last month revealed both a sharp drop in profits and failure to meet sales targets. And finally, just for good measure, RIM recently appeared before the British Home Affairs Select Committee to argue that its services should not be shut down during crisis. Some officials claim that BBM was used to organize and encourage the recent riots in English cities this past August. Now, at the time of this recording, RIM's problems have just escalated even more and have now drifted over here to North America. Do you wonder if this will affect 4S sales? Well, there's no use dodging the issue, let's face it. What a bitter disappointment the iPhone 4S was, huh? And Fortune has the numbers to back that up. AT&T said last Friday that the 4S was its most successful iPhone introduction ever. The company, which had exclusive U.S. rights to sell the iPhone for more than 3 years, took more than 200,000 pre-orders for the 4S in its first 12 hours alone, and more than 1 million consumers in 7 countries had ordered the latest iPhone in the first day, beating Apple's previous record despite complaints from fans when the product was initially unveiled. Apple said on Monday that iPhone 4S pre-orders as of Friday surpassed its previous one-day record of 600,000 sales for the iPhone 4. This time around, Apple is offering pre-orders to 3 carriers in the U.S., AT&T, Verizon, and Sprint, making for a combined total of 253.6 million potential buyers in the U.S. alone. Now, add in international pre-sales, and it looks like many Apple fans have to eat a little bit of crow for dinner tonight. Apple is offering pre-sales in 6 other countries this time around as well: France, Germany, Japan, the UK, Australia, and Canada. Several of those countries had run out of iPhones for pre-order by 6:55 a.m. Pacific Standard Time Friday, with the U.S. scraping the bottom of the barrel 12 hours later. And 2 weeks after the October 14th launch, the iPhone 4S is scheduled to go on sale in 22 more countries. But fear not, O naysayers, the fact that the iPhone 4S uses the same form factor as the iPhone 4, which many of you complained about, should make it more likely that the company will be able to keep up with the demand. Gee, that's an awfully bitter pill to swallow. Truth triumphs fiction! A bandit, or possibly several, you think, has stolen a privately owned steel bridge from a secluded area in Lawrence County. Yep, a bridge. The Coverts Crossing Bridge in North Beaver Township has been in the area since at least the early 1900s, according to the Lawrence County Historical Society. State police suspect someone used a torch to tear apart the bridge, or possibly their bare hands, if they've got big hands, which was worth an estimated $100,000 sometime between September 27th and this past Wednesday. "I couldn't believe it," said Gary Bruce, a spokesman for Newcastle Development, the company that owns the bridge, which was 50 feet long and 20 feet wide. "It's a lot of work." Mr. Bruce said members of a nearby business infrequently used the bridge to transport materials and have another road they can use in its absence. He said he hadn't been on the bridge in about a month himself and reported the theft to state police after a neighbor told him the bridge was missing. Newcastle Development had recently decided to close the bridge to the public because someone in the area had been stealing copper, Mr. Bruce said. State police did not release descriptions of suspects in the theft, and the investigating officer was not available for comment. Mr. Bruce said he had no idea who would have stolen the bridge. I really don't have a comment for this. This is just mind-boggling.
I'm the president of the North Coast Mac Users Group. We're located in Santa Rosa, California. We've been an Apple authorized user group since 1984. We have approximately 500 members, and we're a very proactive user group in Northern California. For the last 18 years, we have hosted the Mac User Expo, also known as MCE. This year, we just had it on October 1st, and it was a phenomenal success. We had over 24 vendors. We also have nonprofit tables that we share with other local user groups like the East Bay Mug, the Golden Gate Community Computer Society, and we also had 2 photo clubs that were participating in our event. We also had over a dozen speakers. Speakers included Chris Breen, Jason Snell, David Sparks, Ted Landau, just to name a few. We also had Burt Monroy do a session on Times Square, his newest release. This project took 4 years for him to do. We had it on display on our stage for everybody to see. It's absolutely phenomenal. In addition to our 24 vendors and all of our speakers, we have a photo expo for NC Mug members to contribute to. We also had e-waste collection. It was a great event. We had about 2,000 people in attendance. Cost is free. Why? Because NC Mug is a nonprofit group, and part of our drive is to do community education. Of course, most of our practice is around the Mac platform, but this year we also had lots of sessions about the iOS. This also brought PC people. These are people who claim not to be Mac people, but they all love their iPhone and iPad, so they came to our sessions to learn about how to use the iPad with photography, how to make music with their iPad, how to make iMovies. These are all things that we share in common, even though our computers are different. What is your group doing? How are you giving back to your community? In a future session, I would like to be able to give some additional ideas to you on what your user group can do to give back to the community. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope you have a great week.
And that's the week in the Magic Apple Kingdom, boys and girls. I want to thank Lorene Romero for getting away from her brother Ray and coming out and telling us some stuff about the user groups. Have a great weekend. We'll see you again next Friday at same time, same bad channel, same, or should I be saying same bad internet? It doesn't matter. So until next time, this has been your host, somebody other than President Obama, reminding you to download, double-click, drop out.